Tad Tucker Webb is back. Well, we've had the first scrimmage. News and notes, really cool stuff. I thought it really funny. Everybody was going to ask about the quarterbacks. Okay, what about Keelan Russell? What about Austin Mack? First scrimmage, this, we all know this is going to go into or through summer ball. But, that was one of the first questions they asked Kalen DeBoer. And he was like, Tamala and Kawa, they're doing great. They're playing aggressive. They're hitting guys in stride. Guys are making plays. Things are going great. And he starts laughing because he knows everybody wants to know about Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. Now, this is the thing. When you look at both guys, it kind of, you kind of have to sum it up like this, right? Keelan Russell, from what we're seeing, is way more explosive. We talked about that in past videos with his feet and where that kind of comes into play. But there's more errors, where Mack, not so many errors, but way less explosive, right? If you were just kind of guessing at this point, you kind of be wanting to lean towards Keelan Russell for his playmaking abilities. But then the safeness and comfort feeling with Austin Mack, because he's been in the system 3 years, right? But then again, if Austin Mack was amazing, he would have taken the job last year, and vice versa. But that's kind of where we're at on that. Like I said, that's just a big work in progress. There's nothing mind-blowing about that. Got some cool notes on Coleman Williams, the wide receiver formerly known as Ryan Williams. They said he was very explosive. He looked very good in the first scrimmage. He was grabbing things out of the air. He wasn't dropping balls, wasn't making mental errors, which is great. Because we know the young man struggled last year. He was in a sophomore slump. His yards went down by a third. His touchdowns were cut in half. Yards per catch was cut in half. So these are facts. We know that. But that was great to hear that young man is coming up and doing great things. We also had pretty good notes from the linebacker out of Virginia Tech, Caleb Woodson. Now, DeBoer said that he has come in, and you could see that he's been on the football field, DeBoer said. He's taken a lot of snaps. He's out there, and the schemes are not too fast for him. He's picked those things up, and it allows him to punch the ball out and cause chaos. He's being the baller that we expected him to be when we brought him in. That was his quote. So that's great to hear, because we needed a guy like him to come in and replace those guys that left. A lot of veteran leadership left. A lot of younger guys that were up and coming kind of left. So we needed that guy to shore up the middle. Now, we need some other gentlemen around him too, because he can't be the only one. But it was great seeing DeBoer say that about him. I thought it was awesome. And there's another thing a lot of people aren't talking about either, and we've talked about this in the past, was the great kicker that we brought in, Lorcan Quinn. Well, it was kind of neat because he said, when you bring somebody else in, it's open competition. That's what DeBoer was saying. And he said that what he loved about it was that Connor Talty, he didn't shy away from it. He didn't leave. He had plenty of time to leave if he wanted to and walk away. He stepped up to the challenge, and he's meeting that challenge every day. So I thought that was really cool about that. I was kind of hoping to hear some more things about the tight ends. Maybe some guys emerging, maybe Pritchett, maybe Josh Ford. Haven't heard any of those things. Haven't seen a lot of those things. Been looking for some footage around. Haven't seen a lot of that. Was kind of hoping to see more of that. There just wasn't a lot that I could really find. But that was pretty cool about the kickers. That was cool about Caleb Edwards. And it was neat about Coleman Williams that he's showing up and showing out. I thought that was really big. And, like I said, I think that the emergence of Coleman Williams this year and coming back to prominence will be a big hinge on the more production from Lotzir Brooks, and I think Derek Meadows, and definitely Sedarius Morgan. I think those are going to be three big key factors in him getting back to where he needs to be as well. We saw Isaiah Horton leave, but we're also got Noah Rogers coming in. He's a very seasoned guy. So, a lot of guys, a lot of things are in motion there. Some of the biggest battles, like I said, we've talked about it ad nauseum, and we're going to continue to talk about it here. And I'm sure everywhere else in the Bama's sphere is that offensive line. You got to be able to block to pass, and you got to be able to block to run, just the way it is. And you got to be able to hold the penalties down. So that remains to be said. That's a work in progress as well. Adrian Clem definitely has the hardest job in the SEC this year. So that's a work in progress. That's pretty much all I got for you today. Just a quick video, guys. Anyway, hopefully I have another video out for you guys this week. Tad Tucker Webb is out.